My name is Roseanne Haran, and I'm lucky enough to be the Chief Marketing Officer and Head of Product of CONTEXTWEB. And we wanted to share with you what we saw as the future of display, or what we see as the future of display. Yes? Am I heard? Okay. We have technical difficulty with the mic also, or if it's technical difficulty with the speaker now. But anyway, we put together some information today because CONTEXTWEB, just to give you a little bit of background, I started my career in technology at AT&T. And when I think back on display, I always thought of display as that 250 by 300, where in fact I could not fit my message. As a matter of fact, I always thought of display as a lack of real estate. Back then, of course, we always talked about the 30-second spot. So my big ideas at AT&T was always a 30-second spot. Then we would take the 30-second spot and then try to retrofit it into our digital advertising. And again, display to me was a banner 250 by 300. As a matter of fact, I remember getting excited when we could do rollover. So boy, we've come a long way. As a matter of fact, as we were putting together this deck, I said I feel a little bit like Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland kind of going into engagement such as we've been seeing over the past couple of days. I can tell you I feel really, really good about CONTEXTWEB and what in fact we stand for at CONTEXTWEB. Those of you who aren't familiar with our brand, the company is a little over 5 years old, and we were just awarded this year the patent for contextual. So we were awarded the patent for real-time categorization, which basically drives the relevancy that you heard from Mark at L'Oreal, you heard yesterday from Google, you heard Vibrant, you saw quotes. The best to do is to watch the Twitter feed from yesterday. The Twitter feed from yesterday was all around relevancy. It was all around finding the right audience, but finding the right audience in a relevant context. So it just made me feel really good that, in fact, I'm involved with a company like this as CONTEXTWEB. I also wanted to say thank you to Randall for putting together this kind of an environment so that, in fact, we could have fun together, learn together, and some of the stuff that I've heard coming off the stage, and then some of the exciting conversations that I've been involved in and about the event has been pretty fantastic. I also wanted to set expectations because I see that, and it's always the same, the end of the day, on the second day, we have a very sparse audience. We're going to take you on a journey today. I'm going to introduce you to a partner of mine at CONTEXTWEB, Candace Marks. She runs the Innovation Lab at CONTEXTWEB. And I'm also going to take you on invite you to participate at the very end of the presentation. You're actually going to text your ideas. Hopefully, we're going to stimulate some thinking from you, and we're going to ask you to actually text your ideas to the stage here. And because time to market is so key, and we all know about first mover advantage even in this market, the first idea that's texted to the stage will win an iPad 2 today. So CONTEXTWEB is trying to keep an audience here through the second day. But before I go on, I did just want to give just a little bit of a historical journey to technologies such as the telephone and adoption rates and how in fact we do adopt enabling technologies. It took us over half a century to adopt the telephone. The internet and the internet enabling technologies such as IP and Mosaic and all those historical things that we've studied about the internet over 20 years. Our smart devices, a little less. It's taken us 7 years to have our smart devices become part of our life and part of our lifestyle. The iPad, which really has innovated technology and really is the fastest technology to market to date, they sold over 3 million in the first 80 days. So the iPad, and the interesting element of the iPad is that the iPad was built on the OS associated with a phone, not the OS associated with a laptop or a computer. So what's important about that? Well, a lot of the pundits were basically saying that the iPad was just an oversized iPhone. But the decision of Apple to use the OS associated with the iPhone and the user interface, I think, is what revolutionized and what made the user adopt the iPad and turn the iPad into such a user-friendly and wonderful entree into content. So we talk about these technologies, and from my background, how do we deal with technology? Well, we deal with technology through specialization, because the complexity of technology many times drives specialization. We need to be specialists in wireless versus specialists in data versus specialists in IP. Well, what have we done in our industry? We've created silos within our own industry. I mean, a lot of folks talking from the stage over the past day have been talking from a point of view of search. And what have we learned from search, which we're applying to display? We've talked about the creative, and we've talked about how, in fact, we can move to a dynamic creative. Again, dynamic creative to make it more relevant to, in fact, where we're placing an ad. Video, mobile, social. As a matter of fact, if we all passed around our business cards, many of us sitting in the audience, even if we're in the publisher community, we have specialized content in our publisher community, or if, in fact, we're in the display and advertising supply chain, our business card probably represents that we're social experts, or we're mobile experts, or we're display experts, et cetera, et cetera. Specialization is what human beings do. Even if you think about physicians also specialize. And frankly, you want to go to a specialist as a physician because you want someone to know the subject matter, and you want them to be able to go into the level of detail to heal. So specialization is also, if we don't think we're specialized within this community, and if you don't think specialization is complexity, just take a peek at the Luma chart. I think we're all familiar, God bless you, with Terry Kawaja's Luma chart, which represents display. There's over 25 categories and hundreds of companies. And if anybody was at the Luma event yesterday, you'll see that this complexity has now exploded, and he's now released a social landscape, a mobile landscape, a commerce landscape. It goes on, and they're actually now, I believe, Terry is going to be releasing a gaming landscape. So it shows specialization, and as we explore the future of display and explore the future of display together, and another quote that I loved from yesterday is that we're exploring the future, but we're also creating the future. So another quote from yesterday that I loved was when someone said, "How do we know that display has matured?" And one of the key attributes to let us know that display has matured is that we play well with others. So if you play well with others, and we have this level of specificity, CONTEXTWEB's point of view on the future is that we need to break through this specialization. Break through the specialization and focus on the user. The user is in the center of everything. The user is the one who drove the founders of CONTEXTWEB. We founded the company based on the premise that the explosion of content on the web needed a curator. The explosion of content on the web needed someone to organize it and help to organize it so that, in fact, there'd be relevancy. Therefore, the categorization, the real-time categorization, but it's all categorized and curated around the user. As a matter of fact, now, through social, the user has actually become the curator. And when Candace gets up and starts talking about some of the things that we're seeing in the future, and actually what we're seeing and we're starting to explore in our innovation lab, it involves playing together. It involves working with partners. I was really pleased yesterday to see some partners that we've been playing with on the stage yesterday. IDG had them out. Kirschenbaum now had all their partners on the stage. We need to play together, and we need to basically come together around the user so that the message, so that the user and the technology kind of come together to form basically the experience, for lack of a better word. And this is really hard looking at, I'm just looking at lights, by the way. I feel like I'm talking to myself a little bit. But I'll get there. Randall, we have to do something about these lights. But if you think about what, and we did. Randall. Oh, and back again. Okay. But if you think about it, I mean, hi, Randall. But we all hold on to our specialization. And you know what? When, in fact, we're in conversations, it's a lot of fun to go deep. But I think the most important thing is to step back. Step back and understand the user. Step back and understand how the user and the technology come together. And this belief, or this point of view around the future of display, is shared by someone by the name of Haran Candace. Haran put up this quote at a recent TED event. And the quote basically talks about the 19th century culture was defined by the novel. The 20th century culture was defined by the cinema. What Haran believes is that the culture of the 21st century will be defined by the interface. Now, if you Google Haran and you look at some of the things he does, basically what he does is he takes user-generated content and he looks at it from a data a visualization of data, so that in fact you can actually see the human movement within it. Some of the work that you can find on the web that Haran has done is showing flight patterns, and showing flight patterns as they follow the sun, as they follow when we wake up and when, in fact, we go to sleep. As, in fact, you know, he also, there's a wonderful visual representation that Candace is going to show you as far as when people were actually checking in to the South by Southwest event. So we are raising our hands, and we are basically making ourselves present, and it's being done through interface. Okay? So the future of display, if you can go on. I'm going to introduce Candace now. She's going to come out and she's going to be talking about breaking apart those silos. She's also going to be showing you some things that I think is going to stimulate some thinking. And again, remember, we're going to play a game at the end. We're going to text. So remember, time to market is key. So get your texting fingers ready, because the first person to text the most creative idea, first to market, will win an iPad too. So Candace Marks, who leads our innovation lab.
Hi, thanks. So thanks for the handoff, Roseanne. A little bit about me. Sure, a little bit about me. I'm laughed. So a little bit about me. I lead the innovation lab at CONTEXTWEB. I am fairly new to CONTEXTWEB, so I approach advertising in the media landscape with beginner's mind. No preconceptions of what display actually means. I actually come from publishing, so I have a different approach. And what we want to do today is play. Let's play a little bit. So Roseanne talked a little bit about the Luma landscape. Yeah? All of those different silos that are binding the message to the medium. We now have new Luma landscapes: social, mobile, video, search. The message is tied up in those mediums. Let's break it free. Let's set it loose. My job today in the Innovation Lab and here is to think about how content can be released, how to challenge conventional thinking about what display is. Roseanne spoke to the frustrations as a marketer of being bound to that 300 by 250 box. Let's break out of the box. You'll see on screen liquid and linked. Wendy Clark, Senior VP Coke, recently spoke at IAB, actually, Leadership Days. And she spoke to the future of content being liquid and linked. I glommed on to that image. I think it's a really nice image to describe what the future of content looks like, because liquid is only bound by the interface. It can travel propelled by its own momentum and the momentum of social media, sharing. Professor Jeffrey Cole at USC Annenberg recently said, he paraphrased Warhol's quote, "Everyone's looking for 15 minutes of fame. Now everyone is looking for 15 megabytes of fame." Those 15 megabytes travel. They become part of the message. The brand is communicating in a bidirectional way with the user. That message is now liquid, but always linked back to the brand message. So how do we work to propel and amplify our message across the different media channels without binding ourselves to a particular device or a particular medium, distribution channel? So we're going to put forward today that display unbound by distribution channel is content. Display is content, be it a marketer's message or user-generated. Yeah? So what we'd like to look at today is how ContextWeb views audience, how we bring relevant, timely messages to audience. We look at our users today as a smart target. We're taking input from perhaps many of you in the room to understand psychographics, demographics, profession, whether someone is in market. What we see on screen is a pharma clicker, and we can recognize that a pharma clicker is not only interested in health content. There are many dimensions. Just like every human is multidimensional, they're reading content about sports and recreation, travel, auto, and business and industry. So a multidimensional person needs a multidimensional message. They want to be reached in a new and interesting way. So let's take a journey together. What you see on screen here is an example of social media check-ins, location-based check-ins, over March 11th through the 15th of 2010. You'll see Foursquare, Brightkite, Gowalla, all different location-based applications. What I think is interesting is we're looking at the ebb and flow of data as users or people are waking up, interacting, attending events, and then as the day moves on, going to sleep. And it's interesting because what the interface does for us is it provides technologists with a new way to tell interesting stories using data. We're not just clickers. We can actually visualize and understand something deeper about our patterns of behavior and interaction. Something else that's interesting is that, as Roseanne mentioned, everyone here is raising their hand to say, "Hi, I'm here, play with me, interact with me, let's engage." So how does the marketer engage in a way that's relevant and useful, where there's a value exchange? We heard yesterday that location is often a very strong indicator of intent. So what can we learn from something like this, other than the fact that it's really cool to watch? So another trend that we're seeing about the user at the center is that content is curated. We know everybody's liking things. Now Bing is bringing your friends along for search, and Google has X+1. The user is telling us what they're interested in. Just as they raise their hand with location-based check-ins, they're saying, "Hey, this is content I'm interested in. I'm going to take it, and like what we were talking about before, liquid content, I'm going to amplify it. I'm going to spread it out to my friends." The message is changed, it's amplified, it's moved, and the user is always at the center curating their world. The fire hose of the web is being managed by technology using real-time contextualization on the advertiser's end, and the user is also bringing their social graph along to say, hey, I think this is interesting, do you? I'm going to categorize and organize my world in this way. So what we're learning is that data is humanized. What we see here is an example of an application in beta. It's an iPhone app. And what it does is it essentially looks at the social media experience as a timeline. We know Twitter is a timeline. Facebook feeds are also sort of organizing our lives in a timeline of status check-ins. This is a visualization of social media location-based check-ins, Flickr photos, YouTube. It's our lives spread out to see. This is the new smart target. How do we reach the user, the human, the multi-dimensional person? Personalized messages. The message of the future, display of the future, is personal. So our point of view is that if the 21st century is defined by the interface, then the user is at the center, content is curated, data is humanized, and the message is personal. I'd now like to set the video up that we're about to watch. If we're saying that the interface will help define the 21st century, what does that look like? What does a personal, real-time message look like on the interface of the future? The interface, again, not necessarily meaning a particular device. It is just a concept and a physical, tangible receptacle for that liquid content. Yeah, so we found this video on YouTube. It's Corning's video about glass of the future. Remember Minority Report, anyone? So a day in the life of the future. We saw at home, we saw in store, we saw outdoor, personalized messages. Hopefully that stretched your minds a little bit, elastic minds, innovative minds, ready to go. We're now going to challenge you to win an iPad. So Roseanne and I found out today that we both have a favorite brand. We share a favorite brand. And when we were thinking of creative, innovative ideas that captures what display might look like in the future, what the interface might be like in the future to engage us, we thought of Fresh Direct. I'm a mom. Oftentimes, I would like to plan my menu a week in advance, program it into my refrigerator, and have Fresh Direct know that I am low on a particular ingredient, and set up perhaps a delivery for the day that my calendar says I will be creating meatloaf surprise. So that's our innovative idea. I'm now going to open up the floor to you. Instructions are about to come up on screen. Get out your phones, everyone. Open a new text message. You'll be sending your messages to 22333. Your message must include 9834 in your example. And go. We'll watch the results on screen in real time. Type, faster, faster. Otherwise, maybe I win with my refrigerator idea. That'd be cool. Hi. Does hello win an iPad?
I'm thinking, for New Jersey Transit, take my ticket on my mobile phone. There you go.
There you go.
Put in for New Jersey Transit, take your ticket on your mobile phone. There you go. You just put it on there.
Congratulations. Thanks for taking the journey with us to understand what the contextual cues of the future will be. And if anyone has any questions, we can take them offline. Thanks.